I think the drug court was created because what we discovered in prosecuting drug crimes was that putting people in prison did not necessarily keep them from using drugs. In fact, it was not the answer. I had been practicing for 20 years when we got started with this, approximately 20 years, and I'd been a drug prosecutor that entire time. And one of the things I noticed was that we kept having the same people come back and come back and come back. So what we were doing was not working, and the regular community corrections program did not have all the resources it needed either to address the addiction issues and some of the other things that were happening in people's lives.
We had a chance to actually view a drug court and talk to a judge and defense attorney and prosecutor and the surveillance officer and probation officers and stuff like that. And I thought at that time, well, it's just a really amazing program. I don't know that we would ever be able to do that here in Hutchinson, Kansas.
Frankly, at first, I wasn't sold on the idea, but I did notice that there were a lot of people that were dedicated in doing something different, something that might help, that might work.
The reason that it works is for several different reasons. One is that we have a team that has 9 different disciplines in it. So we have licensed addiction counselors, drug treatment people, we have mental health, we have community corrections, we have law enforcement, we have prosecutors, defense attorneys, a judge, and so we pretty much cover all of the barriers that there are for people being able to engage in treatment and change their criminal behavior so that they are not committing crimes anymore and not using drugs.
My addiction probably really started when I was 17. That's when I got into harder drugs. And then, I was always on the run from failure to appear from municipal court, and just so happened to be on the run with a warrant at somebody's house when they were raided. And they caught me with a marijuana pipe, and I was first placed on corrections. And I went back on the run, and instead of putting me in prison, they offered me drug court. I was tired of living the way I was. My son didn't know me. My mother, she didn't despise me. She still loved me, but she wouldn't talk to me. None of my family would, and I was just done.
So the day of a drug court, our team will meet and we'll have a staffing session, and we'll discuss each participant that we're going to see that afternoon.
You're trying to come to a conclusion as a group of what's best for that person and for society at the same time.
But we'll go through each person and find what they're doing good and what they're needing to be not doing anymore, and try to come up with a response that's appropriate to each of those people. The response depends upon what phase the person is in drug court. We have 4 phases. So the farther along they get, the less tolerant we are of bad behavior.
I hated it. I hated it at first, but it was also because I hadn't made it up in my mind and that I wanted to do this, and that these people were really here to help. It was, oh, they're out to get me, or I just let me live my life. I had been doing really good, started drinking and hid it from them. And then they put me in jail for missing some appointments. And I came back out and told them, hey, this is what I've been doing, this is what was wrong. Went back to Oxford House and opened my mind up to these people, because I had nothing left. It was either accept the help from these people or go to prison for a good amount of time. And once I accepted it and opened my mind to them, beautiful things started to happen.
Part of the process is they actually learn from watching and learning what happens to other people, and get inspired by people that are doing good and learning from the mistakes of other people, so that they actually become a group and they hold each other accountable.
I gained a really good community, not only with drug court, but with them pushing me to go to NA or being in Oxford. Everybody, any of my friends I have today have either I met in Oxford or I met in NA. I couldn't tell you anybody I have in my life besides family that's not part of NA or been on drug court or in an Oxford house. And that's just one of the main keys of getting into recovery, is you have to change your people, places, and things. And I have a really good support system and some awesome people in my corner.
I have seen people that I would have sworn would never be successful. They were going to be drug addicts all their life. They were going to be substance abusers all their lives, and they weren't going to change. And you're sitting in drug court one day and you realize that something has clicked for them, that all of a sudden they're getting it, and from that point on they're a different person. They've got different drive. They're really working in the program, and to see someone graduate that came into the program really with very little hope of ever turning their lives around, and to see them graduate. Now, not everybody who graduates is successful. Some have gone back to using drugs. We've had people go through the program twice. We've had a couple of people go through twice and still not get it, and those people normally end up in prison. But you actually see people's lives change.
Today I have a full-time job and I have my son in my home. I've had him in my home for almost a year. Trying to go to school and just trying to do better things. See, my son's autistic, and for a long time he was nonverbal. And now I think since being back in the home and being an actual parent to him, it's also helped him open up and become the person he wants to be or is going to be. He now speaks, he's doing really good in school, he just graduated preschool, is going to kindergarten next year. So the only people I hang out with is my mom and my son and my boyfriend, so it's a pretty good life.
You can put a lot of people in prison, but to see somebody be successful and not be in prison and not have to, and you not have to worry about them anymore, because they're out there and they're working and they're staying sober and they've got a life for themselves. It's something that you don't normally get to see as a prosecutor. And so that's what the best part of drug court is, that those successes, those success stories.
People that we've had through our drug court who have graduated and gone out in the community and are leaders in our community, doing just things, taking care of their families, working their jobs, but also doing volunteer work, helping other people and making it a better community. And those are people that before drug court, they would have been just back and forth to court, to jail, to prison, to court, to jail, to prison, because they were doomed to this cycle of drug abuse and addiction and crime. And, so there's, dozens and dozens of people out there that are now supporting their families, working good jobs, and contributing to our community and not committing crimes that wouldn't have made those changes any other way.
My worst day sober is better than my best day high. I have my son in my life. My mom's my best friend, and I can't tell you the last time I had a relationship with her before this.
There are a lot of people who question the validity of drug court. They can point to people who have been through drug court and then go back to drugs, and that's going to happen. But when you've seen it like I've seen it, it is a successful program. It is more successful than normal community corrections or probation.
The typical cost for if we have somebody that's on community corrections and they get revoked, they're going to go to prison for a year and a half or so, and that's going to cost the taxpayers about $45,000. To get that same person through drug court, probably going to cost $5,000. So for every dollar you spend, you save $9.
And it's worth it to the community, because when we are successful with someone, when someone is successful through our program, we're not spending money to incarcerate them. We're not spending money to prosecute them. They've got jobs. They're adding to the community. They're paying taxes. They're being good, solid citizens, and that helps the community. And so I would encourage anyone who has an opportunity to support drug court to do so.
Drug court saved my life. I put in the work, but they gave me the guidance, and they were always there to support me and push me to do better. So, I'm really thankful for the drug court, to be honest.